Yesterday's set with motion for Newcastle harness racing event and the banners after recognition.
Like all trainers, the horse, you've never got to be seen. You've got to perform lead-up races. Your horse can run that will attract the attention of selectors.
The biggest punters, undoubtedly, and successful harness race at Australasia.
It's a great field. It's raced 45 miles. Champion comes in number one because the big are all people's horse.
And main favourites are locals. Let's train. I stay within the bound conventional training.
We've had a lot of tests for horses they run.
Saturday's race.
But it's all,
Even NBN News.
Drew Langford might be only 17, but at the weekend state interbranch titles he finished second in the sprint and flag events in the face of far older opposition. It was enough to impress National Surf League selectors, searching for just one more athlete.
Yeah, I was extremely surprised by how they come up to me and said, yeah, we want you to run for us.
And that he'll do for the New South Wales Thunder in what's now Australia's premier surf life-saving series. It's a big step, but it's not like the Swansea Belmont sprinter is a stranger to big competitions. The holder of national titles on both track and beach, he'll even juggle the league's opening round in Sydney with the Australian All-Schools Athletics in Melbourne. It's a big ask.
Yeah, it is. Having to travel back from Melbourne on the Saturday afternoon to run on the Sunday, it's different. Never had to do that before.
Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
After several early at Brisbane was first to score, with striker Paul Foster using his head. As United tried to equalise, Asala Massey went close, as did Joel Griffiths, who became the victim of a suspect challenge. But Griffith came back with the perfect response, bagging one for Newcastle. He almost followed up with another, but struck the bar. Fijian national Asala Massey scored the winning goal in the 48th minute, cutting through an almost non-existent Brisbane defence. Newcastle now sits in second spot on the NSL ladder behind Perth. Europeans matter what as players were winding down their round of golf.
We like we'll do anything to get game.
The result was it.
Really did put us in a bit of a schmozzle in the first 15, but I think,
The final Fijian international Asala Massey was the game break. Newcastle in front 2-1.
To get through, especially if even second at the time, was a fantastic.
That's what made I did after the game sitting on the table for new squad. You can't complain.
Beltrame got closest all on the. He and the boys will be hoping for accuracy Sunday night when they take on South Melbourne at Bob Jane Stadium. Paul Bob, NBN News. Newcastle won the Country Cup in '98 and into the final again. The boys convincingly beat the Central Coast last Friday, went under Southern Zone on Saturday, but smacked Riverina in a rain-affected match yesterday. The war between Newcastle and the West Zone was Newcastle's #1 sport ground on Sunday, December 2. Entire surf lifesavers were in the courts Yesterday for a branch car. Conditions were picked at Fingal Beach before the afternoon storm put an end to the carnival. There's a 16-year-old for rugby activities with the club. Then had 538 points and Redheads 215. The next and the Sport Club Saturday. Paul Lott, BN News.
The contribution to the local economy over lunch hour was $139 million each year. It seems the economy has been Newcastle thanks.
Off the very right is a location in Central Coast.
Even with a part of the growing.
We're not both television coordination education.
Facility would $119 expenditure each year, $150 per annum in construction activity, and is the second largest player behind Hunt Area Health. And Kapos, NBN News. It's known as the mole magnet. It works by taking note of moles on the body, filing on images, and comparing them again later when the patient is screened again. And for patients like Rutherford's Regnum, it could improve life, especially has a family history of melanoma. More than 50% of the rise in of melanoma in the world. The machine weekly announced from the employees who raised donate 3,000 machine to the Massachusetts Melanoma Unit. Meanwhile, a pediatrician, Dr. Cliff Hosking talent, aren't just limited his medical skills. Today, his sticks were lined up on the walls of John Hospital's main corridor, featuring his latest exhibition, Painting with Light. John, for the last 4 months, part-time specialist has been busy, painting 27 watercolours with varied themes.
It's really over the last few years I've cut down on my medical workloads and time to consolidate my work.
The exhibition continues till early February. Helen Carlos, BN News.
Taking advantage of the foul weather, thieves entered the surf club by cutting through the front door. They stole $16,000 worth of vital life-saving equipment which had been donated to the club only 3 weeks earlier.
We've effectively lost our transport to take our rubber ducks or IRBs and our nipper gear down onto the beach. We've lost rescue boards, we've lost our Oxyviva resuscitation equipment.
The high number of drownings last summer sparked a statewide funding initiative which saw equipment go to those clubs most in need. Barooby is a long stretch of beach to patrol, and with a responsibility to locals and tourists, the surf club is appealing to have their gear returned.
Whoever took the stuff, it's no use to you anyway. Give it back to us because we need it, the community needs it, and the tourism needs it.
Rochelle Reardon, NBN News. After years of planning, the rezoning for the Mount Industrial Estate has been approved by Council. Cessnock Mayor John Sinclair says it's a major step forward for the town.
It gives Council the opportunity to create employment. That's badly needed in our city. At least 100 men lost their jobs in the collieries over the last 2 years. They have nowhere to go. So this is a really great day tonight.
The plans have been on public display since September last year, and while there is support for development, some remain firmly opposed.
I say jobs are a good thing for the town. I say development is a good thing for the town, but I think it needs to be appropriately placed.
Community concern over the proposal was reflected by a packed gallery at last night's council meeting. Emotions running so hot had to be removed. The Mayor's hopeful the estate will create around 3,000 jobs in its first 3 years, and he remains confident Council has considered all aspects of the project.
Council acted responsibly and consider all issues. We're confident that the project will go ahead and protect all the issues that they've raised.
He's hopeful the state government will approve the development within 6 months so work can begin on the site. Meantime, the supposed plan under legal action. Michelle Reardon, NBN News.
The roads are laid, the curb and gutters complete, and the blocks are pegged out at the North Lakes estate at Cameron Park. And future residents are already there, vying for their favourite block.
We got a phone call yesterday morning from our real estate agent, and he told us to pack our bunny rug and be prepared to stay here until 5 p.m. Friday.
This shed has become a home away from home for the keen purchasers. They've been told that to maintain their place on their preference list, they must stay at the site till the official land release tomorrow afternoon.
I'm surprised that people are queuing as early as Wednesday, because there's other stages to come. It's all good land, but good on them if they're that keen. I hope they have their purchase.
Naomi plans to build here with her partner to at the dog in the new year, but until it's done, she's carrying a family van. Amid tough competition, the bet size.
It was one by the take place in line, but we say the block means more to us than that. Being here means more to us than that.
Weekend release the first 47, a total of 1,300 blocks up for sale, cost up to $95,000. It's a way to meet your neighbours. Paul News.
When a team's playing well, everyone wants to be a part of it. Even injured starter Squaley and Mark Wilson, who today trained for the first time this week.
Cook's given me a bit of time off and trained today, felt pretty good. Yeah, team's going really well. It's a game like this.
Whether they do or not will depend on how well they pull up tomorrow. It has to return no matter what, at the expense of a less experienced player. Injured striker Daniel McBride started doing handball work again after only watching his team in for the last 6 weeks, although he hasn't minded too much.
Yeah, it's hard. As the bonuses keep coming in. It's all right.
United fly south on Sunday morning. Short doing them flying this weekend. Jake McMurray for Michael Landy. He'll be out to defend his New South Wales title as champs at Marm Point. The 50-yard sailors looking to stop him. Stopping will be the last lines of competitors in of the downhill series. Held at the Mountain Bike Association's new track west of Killingworth, see national and international champions choose speed over self-preservation. Practice begins tomorrow with the finals held on Sunday. And the week's wet weather has claimed Newcastle Speedway's state event, which has been called off until the new year. Colin Baldwin, NBN News. Richard Johnson injured his left knee at the end of the 99-2000 Premier League season. He hardly expected to undergoing rehabilitation 18 months later. But with a round of surgery behind him, it seems he's finally on the road to recovery.
Things are going great at the moment. They had the operation today, so rehab's great.
Not so great that been a regular cruise camp after your injury and watching you in their most crucial.
Pretty happy. Just glad to see it doing really well, and I really have made the World Cup.
Soundtrack to watch some will head back to England in the new year, and by then hopefully track extended for the 10th and testimonial season. While that means a raft of celebrations in another club bought the 27-year-old Western's 8 weeks, and he's not ruling out one day finishing his career in the SL.
Yeah, definitely. I think my day that Aussies abroad like to come back and finish their career. I'm no different, so I think it'll be good.
Not even Walker Centre, impressing kids America. Skills for taking the bigger dive down under. And tailed off the good route to Burrow truck.
Yes, they're setting themselves up for their long journey.
By touring fans, the old one was modest about his pillow.
I feel a little.
Whilst remain undecided about Kimbo. Others the bitter.
This little box that has cotton wool in it and it's got a diamond.
Late month for this Christmas.
Well, the main tip, of course, is to be good, but not just now being Christmas, but they'll be good all year, because all my friends are watching out all year. So if they be good, we'll see what we can do for Christmas. That's the big tip.
Steve Mount, NBN News.
When a fatal storm exploded in Bass Strait during the 98 Sydney to Hutt Solo Globe Challenger was dismasted and several of its crew members came close to losing their lives.
I still don't sleep well at night. Some nights, you know, that you kind of think about it, you toss and turn. It
made me look at things in life that maybe didn't quite mean so much past me, and a lot more to me now.
Some of them been to sea since 98, so I know it's going to be very difficult for them, and I know that there's something going on right now that they'll be struggling with.
Same crew is back together for this year's race. A disastrous night event that left 6 sail there was Dave Marshall's first trip to Hobart. Skipper Tony Mowbray has 6 sailed around the world, and Keith Lloyd, they're all better prepared to tackle whatever the ocean dishes up.
You know, we pulled together in 98 like a group. You know, I'm just so proud of associated with them and what took place. So this year, I'm sure that we'll overcome those, you know, we'll all help each other overcome our mental obstacles.
The crew spent today reacquainting themselves with the boat by contesting the annual Lake Macquarie 30-mile race. But come Boxing Day, uncertain feelings are sure to surface.
Yeah, to get the same guys back in the same boat and go out in the same area, yeah, it's going to feel a little bit funny.
In preparation for the Olympic trials, I'm going to be heading over to New Zealand, running their circuit this period, and then over I'll head over to Europe and do the European circuit.
Yesterday's round, the state title was abandoned when the wind died. A wester kicked in, allowing sailors to navigate the course between Marmong Point and Warners Bay. Among those in blistering form is Newcastle's Michael Lentz. The current Australian men's champion is tipped to be only 2 Aussies to compete in sailboarding in the Athens Olympics in 2004. Australia's other Olympic hopeful is Alison Shreve. Originally from Port Macquarie, he's deferred her civil engineering studies at Sydney Uni on election.
Basically, for the next 3 years, I'll be training full-time with my coach Brent and Michael and for the eyes, and hopefully standards up before we go overseas to the European summer.
We've got a lot to build on. There's a good base there, and we have time to really build up to a level where they can be at the top of their game at the Olympics.
But sailing your way to the top can be hard work.
With sailing, we spend a lot of time out in the water because the conditions are changing and so variable, so you have to be out in conditions all the time. So you have to be out on the water quite a lot. They spend 5 to 6 days a week training, 5 days on the water, and including also gym sessions, running and swim sessions as well.
We sold last year's boat, built a new one now, and we're just finding one now.
report released by the Australian Local Government Association claims industrial areas like the Hunter will be the first victims of the global downturn, which has the world market into homes. Proponents of September 11, economies everywhere are feeling the effects. It said Hunter was already experiencing a an economic crisis, not helped by a serious slump in employment.
In terms of information technology infrastructure, sorts of things settled.
The Hunter Research Foundation quarterly figures reveal a startling jump in unemployment, which is 7%. That with a sharp decline in retail and residential, and the region isn't full. But the Lord Mayor says the report paints a much gloomier picture of the Hunter's economy than it warranted, claiming a number of new projects will still play a key role in enhancing the region's future. Hopes are now riding on the future success of projects like Aussteel and Protec, and more recently plans to expand Marathon Stadium.
The operation of a site like that does generate income, it generates jobs, and that's a very good economic driver.
Helen Kapalos, NBN News.
Newcastle Golf Club's Fern Bay layout is known as one of the toughest in the country, and it's not just because of the tie-twisting fairways.
Not much places to miss out here. You want to keep it pretty much in the centre of the fairway, avoid the snakes. I've been looking around in the bush the last couple of days in the Pro-Am, and hopefully that won't continue on throughout the tournament.
But it wasn't the wildlife that the Canadian Trainee Championship winner had to be wary of today. Rather, the other locals of Fern Bay, who were out to make $1 off these trainees in today's Pro-Am.
Maximum you can lose is $20 Aussie, not Canadian.
A safe bet might be Graydon Woolridge. The 29-year-old Manly-based trainee knows all about Fern Bay. He's played it for years, as his parents live next door, and the local pro is also his coach. All that experience could prove the difference.
It needs to be one shot, and that's the difference between winning and losing. So.
But there is a host of interstate competitors eyeing the ultimate prize for trainee professionals in Australia, including the Adelaide Rays' Nigel Spence. After playing college golf in America, the 23-year-old recently won the Queensland Order of Merit and would love to finish the year with the national title.
Everyone sort of works all year to get to this, and this is what we geared up for.
The 4-day tournament starts tomorrow. Jim Callanan, NBN News.
Alan Spence was today putting the final touches on his Christmas light display, which attracts thousands of visitors home each year.
It's on, same last year and the year before. It's no problems. It gets harder each year, so always just bear with it and keep going.
In the past, there have been some controversies around the Great Slave display, which brings with it a constant stream of traffic, people disturbing the otherwise quiet suburban patch. But Alan Spence's rumoured display is off this year, simply not true. Like this, he just returned from the US, back with a whole new decoration, over the past 4 years, so somewhere between 50 and 60 visitors.
I'm going to tell them what they can.
The big light raises money for organisations like West Rescue Cancer.
Funny, really not. I have work, but it's a lot of it, and that's what's it.
On Saturday, the light is off on the 31st of December. NBN News.
He's quick to lay things down, but there's little doubt Terry has been looking forward to meeting Newcastle season.
Earlier in the week, Crook won't have much to motivate. Probably might.
Considering he's assisted by former Newcastle playing staff David Lowe and Bob Newmov and one-time goalkeeper Bob Catlin, it's easy to see why. The Stallions are coming off 2 losses, which sets the scene for a typical Sterry-style battle. Off-field, though, his tactic vary.
Now that Beltrami may be injured, I'll probably get Swan in the hove here at the end this afternoon and pump a few into him.
He might not have to resort to that. The injured Daniel Beltrame has responded well to treatment for his ankle and will be tested at tomorrow's training. That's the furthest thing from Clayton Zane's mind. Sporting a new look hairdo, the Socceroo can't wipe away the memories of the failed World Cup qualifying campaign.
I don't think it's fully sunk in. Come World Cup finals time, I realised how big it was and what missed out.
Personally, things keep rolling along nicely. He top scored for his Norwegian club Lillestrøm and voted league's best player. That's also attracted interest from Italian and English Premier League clubs. He plans to watch his teams at Newcastle United before returning on New Year's Day, but he has ruled out guest performance.
So I'd love to run the body because I have help.
With their suspended plan and 40 the yes team in the league, the ball is up against it. Goals against the Strait didn't help the home side either. It's just on coming, taking advantage of a team lacking on top grade experience. 5-0 the idea, 4 rounds remaining. They take on ladder leaders New South Wales next weekend. What night Speedway, everyone getting into a spin. You can say that again. The Super Sedan feature didn't even get a lap when it struck trouble. When it did get underway, John Pine made all the right moves, making his way from the rear of the field in one of his trademark runs. He went on to take the checkered flag. A great day for Hunter Branch crews at round 3 of the Peters Surfboat Survival Series at the Lakes Beach on the Central Coast. However, Redhead Ladies crew wanted to do it on their own. Losing its sweep, they had on to still finish. It was better news for Games Beach, who won the men's open final from Avoca Ray, while Swansea Belmont rounded out the placings. And the National Futures Golf Tournament is almost certain to stay at Newcastle's Fern Bay course. The PGA, while secured with major sponsors, is only to be a formality. Miracles won the event and will now compete in the US Training Championship next year.
Title's great being national champion, but all the bases that go with it, yeah, looking forward to it.
After refusing to budge, brain-injured resident Greg Cousins was wheeled to a waiting ambulance, his mother Aileen and brother Len behind him. Catholic Care for the Aged put police in a difficult situation, an officer having to explain to the family they could be arrested for trespassing if they didn't leave the St Catherine of Siena building by 2 o'clock today.
It's just almost beyond belief. Well, makes me think of man's inhumanity to man.
But Catholic Care for the Aged claims the home was closing today and it has a duty of care.
Basically, we had to set a deadline, otherwise we ourselves would have been at risk legally for not complying with the legislation in respect of care within St Catherine of Siena.
The devastated family had wanted the Catholic Church to stick its promise that no one would be evicted until suitable accommodation was found. Greg Cousins was the last of 3 residents to be transferred to St Joseph's at Sandgate today.
It was a shared situation in a ward at St Joseph's. It was previously dementia. I don't think the standard is up to what he's had for the last few years.
As for the future of the building, Catholic Care says it's suitable for self-contained the elderly or for educational purposes. Vanessa Tresize, NBN News.
The bill is an alternative option to their aging and sometimes unattractive predecessors. This relocatable modular substation has a convenient package deal, ready for assembly on site.
It's exactly equivalent in its functionality as the existing zone stations, same partition, same transformer, same switchgear.
The concept evolved after a severe gas shortage at Longford in Victoria caused an unprecedented surge in the demand for electricity. A quick solution was needed. Enter Amp Control, a company based at Tomago with 30 years' experience build modular substations for the mining industry. All that was needed was an innovative approach from a team of design and project engineers.
We had it fully assembled, tested in our factory, located on site, commissioned in this 20 weeks.
That was 3 years ago, and construction time for the award-winning design has now been reduced to only 4 weeks.
I see them being accepted more by generally as well as the power utilities. I see when we have a look at contestable power supplies that the customer will be able to question these at their occasion.
Because the units take less time and labour for installation, cost-effective benefits have sparked interest among energy suppliers. Energy Australia has already placed order for 2 of the $1 million units, and they've attracted international attention as well.
We previously supplied 8 substations into the Pippawa mine for Coal India. We also supplied 2 substations into EGAT in Thailand, and we also just recently put 5 small units into West Papua.
In the challenge to secure competitive manufacturing contracts, AMP Control's approach is to provide a custom-designed engineering solution, drawing on local expertise.
We're using those skills that we've learned over the years to actually turn to the challenges of manufacturing. That manufacturing that we are achieving is world-class, exportable, and also usable right across the country.
Despite the downturn in Australia's manufacturing industry, AMP Control's workforce has increased from 160 to 240 employees during the past 3 years, and the company says it plans to continue positioning itself to take advantage of future opportunities.
It's also seen that a lot of our major competitors have shut down, and has left us to fill the void. So we are counter cycle, but it's not a case of the country's in boom, it's a case of we found where these sources of income are.
When 81-year-old Edna Lewis died at Allendale Hospital in June 1998, her family was told she died of liver failure and pneumonia. It was revealed 10 months later that her death was caused by eating fruit salad contaminated with the deadly Listeria bacterium. Edna was one of 6 people who died under similar circumstances in Hunter Health facilities in the late 90s. New South Wales Health today released a report on how tragedy was handled by Hunter Health.
The independent review found no evidence of a cover-up, but it found evidence certainly that communication could have been, particularly in the early stages of the investigation.
Dr Stewart said the communication failure would be assessed by the appointment of a Listeria Death Liaison Officer.
And that person is the Director of Immunology and Disease at Johns Hospital. And Dr Boyle will be available in the future for any questions or queries that any of your families have.
Other recommendations include taking relatives on a tour of a facility that delivered the contaminated food, better reporting of foodborne outbreaks, improved safety programs, and a review of the way kitchen staff are trained. Hunter welcomed the review. The state coroner is still yet to announce whether there'll be an inquest into the deaths. Paul Lobb, NBN News.
My daughter's 7.5 years old at the time. They've given a patient of 8 years and a non-parole period, and my daughter will be 13.5 at the time. Doesn't cost a lot.
Retail trade slumped by 2% after September 11, but shoppers are back.
A bit of pain, isn't it, for people?
Christmas sales are up 5% compared to this time last year. Consumer confidence buoyed by low interest rates and savings on petrol.
We're very encouraged by the traffic flow. On average, we get about 200,000 people through here this sort of year.
For department stores such as Grace Brothers, Christmas sales account for a third of their annual turnover. Man of the moment inundated with requests.
The boys have been liking the Harry Potter and the girls have been liking Baby Born.
More advanced. A remote control car. Walkman. A remote control car. Mobile phone.
The Harry Potter books and merchandise might be popular, but the prices are less than magical. They'll average $460 on presents this silly season. The Retail Trade Association is getting into Christmas shopping. 2% of it will leave it until the last minute. And with 15 short days left, it's two to escape the maddening crowd. Vanessa Design, NBN News. Pottermania continues to sweep the nation, and mini wizards flew in from around Hunter to the Glendale cinemas near Newcastle today. With magic brooms in hand, they came for a charity screening of the movie phenomenon, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Welcome to your first flying lesson. Stick your right hand over the broom and say up. Up! Wow. Mr. Longbottom, exactly where do you think you're going?
Proceeds from ticket sale go toward the oncology unit at Newcastle's Mater Hospital. And it wasn't hard to lure a crowd just crazy about Harry.
Here are some people here to me. I just like the big three-headed dogs.
I just like the magic. I really like magic, and then the Harry Potter book came out and I read it and I loved it.
A Potter magician was there to entertain, but the adoration sat flying whiz kid.
Said he said, "I curse, and I really couldn't have done that."
I think it is clear that we can expect great things too.
Car insurer AAMI has released a report that reveals young drivers are more aggressive than other drivers and also have more accidents. Male drivers under 25 take out almost 50% more claims than those over 25. Females under 25 around 25% more. But don't tell them that. The figures also reveal that 4 in 5 young motorists thought they were better drivers than anyone else.
I think that I'm probably better than some drivers out there, yeah.
And according to the study, young drivers are more likely to get road rage and use rude gestures.
I just think you tend to be a little bit more radical, so when you're a bit younger.
I think good driving comes with experience, and P-platers should maybe not have passengers for 2 or 3 years. We've got a lot to learn. I was a cocky P-plater, and I think they all are.
The findings come just 2 months after AAMI's last study, which claimed 80% of local drivers believe older motorists are the cause of most accidents. Rochelle Reardon, NBN News.